Kirby, narrating the student-made and led slides. Covering the topic is going to be scalp analysis and your growth patterns. How to do a scalp analysis. All successful salon services must begin with a thorough analysis of the client's scalp and client's hair type. Knowing their hair type and scalp condition allows you to make a better decision about the service. Different hair reacts to the same service. Senses you must use: sight, touch, sound, smell. All of these things you have to put in motion. Four most important factors to consider in hair analysis is texture, density, porosity, and elasticity. Also, growth patterns and dryness versus oiliness. Hair pigment is going to be your melanin. Melanin is also known as color. Melanin are the tiny grains of pigment in the cortex that gives natural color to the hair. Eumelin is natural dark brown and black color to the hair, and dark pigments are predominant in the black and brunette hair. Phenolmelin is the light pigmented hair that provides natural colors ranging from red, ginger to yellow and blonde tones. Hair texture. Hair texture is the thickness or diameter of the individual hair strand. Hair density, it measures the number of individual hair strands on one's square inch. Hair density is different from hair texture. The average hair density is about 2,200 hair per square inch. High density has more hair per 1 square inch. Low density has fewer hairs. Going back to the hair texture, coarse hair, medium hair, and fine hair. Coarse hair, medium hair, and fine hair describes texture. Coarse hair has your large diameter and also is stronger than fine hair. Thick rope is stronger than a thin rope. Coarse hair is often resistant and requires more processing time. Medium hair is your most common texture and requires no and really don't require much and don't have any special problems or concerns. Fine hair is the smallest diameter. It is more fragile, easier to process, but more likely to damage from chemical services. Hair porosity. Hair porosity is the ability to absorb moisture. The degrees of porosity is directly related to the condition of the cuticle layer. Healthy hair is a compact cuticle that is normally resistant to being penetrated by moisture. Hydrophilic. Hydrophilic is porous hair that has a raised cuticle and usually or easily absorb the moisture. Average porosity considered normal hair. It will process as expected according to the texture. Low porosity is considered resistant. Low porosity is considered resistant. This hair requires more alkaline solution. Or it might even say it requires a more higher acidic solution than those hair that is high porosity. Alkaline solution raise the cuticle and permanent uniform saturation and processing on resistant hair. So if it's a low cuticle, if it is a closed cuticle, tightly compacted, low porosity, the hair is resistant and it requires more time and a more alkaline solution. High porosity is considered overly porous. That means it absorbs quicker, it don't take long to process, it's fragile, it's dry, it's brittle. It requires a less alkaline solution with a lower pH, which helps prevent additional overprocessing or damaging the hair. Elasticity. Elasticity is the ability of the hair to stretch and return back to its original length without breaking. It is an indication of the strength of the hair bond that holds the hair individual fibers in place. Wet hair with normal stretch can stretch up to 50% and return back to its original state without breaking. Dry hair can stretch up to 20% of its length. Low elasticity is brittle, it breaks easily, and is the result of a weak bond that are usually result in overprocessing the hair. This will require a milder solution with a lower pH to minimize further damage and additional overprocessing. Sometimes it may not even be able to hold a curl or the heat forming from a wet set or a thermal styling or permanent waving. Checking the elasticity on the water hair. Checking elasticity on wet hair. By taking an individual strand from 4 different areas of the head, the front hairline, the temple, the nape, and the crown, hold a strand of wet hair and try to pull it apart. If the hair stretches and returns to its original state without breaking, it is normal elasticity. If the hair breaks or fails to return back to its original length, it has low elasticity. Wave patterns. Wave patterns have several theories to try to explain cause of the natural curly hair, but there isn't one definite answer. Why? The most popular theory is that the shape of the cross section of the hair determines how curly it is. Hair with a round cross section is straight. Oval to flattened, oval cross section is wavy or curly. Hair that is flat, oval cross section is overly curly. Wave patterns, wave patterns, wave patterns, wave patterns of the hair is shapes of the hair strand. The different types are wavy, curly, or extremely curly. Natural wave patterns are results of genetics, and race can have any form of curl degree in their hair also. Can be different curl types on some person's head. People with curly hair usually have a straighter hair in the crown and tighter curls everywhere else. Straight blonde hair is around with phenolin. Straight black is round with mostly eumelin. Straight gray hair lacks melon. Curly hair is an oval shape. Growth patterns. Growth patterns in many different directions is why during a scalp analysis, hair analysis, and all hair patterns should be identified and taken into consideration when creating a look, haircut, or hairstyle. Please keep this in mind in cutting hair, styling it, and creating looks. The growth patterns do play a major role. The hair stream. The hair stream is the flowing in the same directions. The follicle swoops into the same directions. Two streams flowing in opposite directions from the head, creating a natural part in the hair. This is when you could comb somebody's hair straight back, even after you shampooed it. That hair, when it dries, will automatically split at that natural part. Whorls occur with hair leaves the follicle at the angle, forming patterns of streams on the head. Often the streams are swirls or spirals outward from the center point of the head, usually spiraling in a clockwise direction. There can sometimes be more than one. Calyx, particular patterns of the hair follicles in the forehead. They are most noticeable on the front hairline of people with short, thick hair, but they may be located anywhere on the head. Your whorls are going to be when you cut the hair too short, you can cut a dip in there, a hole, or make the hair stick up. If you do not do a proper hair analysis and look for these whorls and streams. Your cowlicks is generally in the front, right up by your temples. So some people want to cover them so they won't want you to cut the hair too short. So remember, your growth patterns play a big role in creating your looks, haircuts. This concludes Mrs. Kirby's class. Her student made slides and that they were led by scalp analysis and growth patterns.